Lorraine Hansberry is an American playwright who was born between the two world wars. Her most famous play, A Raisin in the Sun, was the first play written by an African-American woman to make it to the stages of Broadway. The play follows the Younger family, whose matriarch, Lena Younger, acquires a large sum of money through an insurance settlement after the passing of her husband. Lena decides to put a portion of this money towards a down payment on a home. Due to the fact that homes are cheaper in white neighborhoods during this time, she makes the decision to buy a home in an all-white neighborhood. During the 1950 Chicago area and many parts across the country, housing segregation was in full force and minority families risked many dangers from moving to white neighborhoods. There were many methods that encouraged segregation, including steering and redlining. Steering is a practice that real estate professionals use to convince home buyers to purchase in areas based on discriminatory factors, including their ethnic makeup. Redlining is a discriminatory practice that lenders used, where they drew red lines on maps of areas with more minorities and refused to lend in those areas. The Federal Housing Administration, known as the FHA, was established in 1934, and one of its main functions was to ensure home mortgage loans made by lenders. Unfortunately, their history includes being guilty of redlining, and their racist practices included refusing to back loans given to Black people, or even to buyers who wanted to purchase homes near Black communities. When families like the Younger family did manage to buy a home in a white neighborhood, they were faced with prejudice and abuse from the locals. When Lorraine Hansberry was a young girl, her father moved their family to a white neighborhood, and they received a lot of abuse from the white neighbors, including having a brick thrown through her window, barely missing her as she sat on a sofa. This very well could have inspired components to this play. In 1968, the Civil Rights Act, also known as the Fair Housing Act, passed and prohibited discrimination when it came to housing based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. This act was passed for many purposes, including reversing housing segregation and preventing discrimination. Although it has not ended the consequences of unfair practices prior to its passing, it meant a fresh start and more access for minority families.